This man is sending me songs. He's sending me songs to match his mood. He's sending me subliminals through Brandy. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Liallure, and I'm back at it again with another video. If you're new to my channel, hey girl, hey, my name is Leah. I make videos, story times, hauls. I do a little bit of everything, so don't forget to hit that subscribe button because I'm sure you'll want to come back for more. And if you're a returning subscriber, hey friend, how are you? I hope you're doing wonderful, fabulous, beautiful, amazing. Before we get started with the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Liking the video helps me a lot. It helps me get into the algorithm and helps other people just like you see my story times. So if you like these story times and you want me to keep making more, don't forget to leave me a huge like and don't forget to subscribe. So welcome back, y'all. Yeah, welcome back to another one. Welcome back to Storytime Sunday, and I'm back with another one because y'all know how this shit go, honey. If you see me messing around with my braids, just ignore me. I don't get braids very often, and this is my first time filming with it since I got these braids, so I might just try to get a little bit comfortable, but ignore me. Anyway, so today's story time is actually about one of the most toxic dating experiences I've ever had. I don't know what I'm gonna name this, but oh girl, just stick around. Okay, so this happened back in 2020 when the pandemic like first started. So in 2020, I was just freshly coming off my relationship with Dwayne. If y'all are new here, Dwayne is my ex, right? Dwayne and I had a very, very toxic relationship. Like, he was a shit boyfriend, like so bad. He made me insecure. He was just like not willing to pay for anything. Like, he was hiding me from everyone, and it was embarrassing. Like, the whole thing was embarrassing, you know what I'm saying? And so when I finally left Dwayne and I picked myself up, I decided that I should date around. Prior to 2020, I had never had a hoe phase. And by hoe phase, I'm really just talking about a time in my life where like I just dated around casually and got to know what I liked in a guy and got to know like what I didn't want indefinitely. So because I've never had a phase like that, I decided that 2020 was the perfect time to get it started because come on, it's a pandemic. Yes, but also everybody's online, everybody's inside, so everybody's online. So I thought it was the perfect time to try a dating app, and that's what I did. I started considering my options, right? Tinder was definitely not gonna happen because I'm not a duck type of girl. I'm not her. I'm not one of them. Bumble I couldn't do either because I heard too many stories about people getting set up on Bumble, and what you're not gonna do is set me up over a basket of Cheddar Bay biscuits at Red Lobster. It's not gonna happen. Bumble was out of it. Then I got to Hinge. Coincidentally, I had never heard of Hinge until one day I was on the train and I was looking around at the ads and stuff like that, and I saw an ad for Hinge. What caught my eye about Hinge is that it was marketed as the dating app that's designed to be deleted, as in everybody who gets on Hinge eventually finds their like long-term life partner, and so they delete the app. And I'm like, it's given that the guys on this app might be serious.
Well,
they were not. I get on Hinge and I do my big one. I do my biggest. Like, I pick out all my cute pictures. I show my personality by like the little blurbs that they have on the website and stuff like that. And I do my absolute biggest because honestly, if not me, then who?
I know that's right.
Really, let's get into it. And I'm like, I know the guy's gonna come to me because one thing about me, after Dwayne, like, yes, he kind of like ruined my self-esteem, but I built that shit right back up because let me tell you something. You're not gonna keep a bad down. You're just not going to. So I was just like, yeah, like I know they're gonna come to me. Like, I'm cute, like I'm intelligent, I got a good job, like I'm funny as shit, girl. I got banter for days. So I was just like, I know they're gonna come to me. Like, it's really nothing. And come to me they did, girl. Like, literally an hour after I set up my profile, like I kept getting like the likes from the guys and stuff like that. Now when it came to Hinge, I kind of had a system of how I wanted to weed out the weirdos. It was good, but it wasn't enough. Anyway, the system was basically like, I would go through his profile, like see if his height matched up, to see if he had a job, to see if he didn't have any kids, to see if he didn't have anything that was like a turn off for me. And then I would see what he said to me in my like, the way Hinge works is like, if you like somebody's picture, you have to say something to it. And that's how they decide whether or not they want to match with you. So I kind of looked at all these factors to decide whether or not I wanted to ignore him or like actually pursue him. You see what I'm saying? So that's my system for Hinge or whatever. And it worked out pretty well, I want to say. After I looked at like the type of person they were and stuff like that, I went ahead and I went through the next steps, okay? Okay, the next step was basically like talking to them on the app for like 2 to 3 days, see if they had like a good conversation, to see if it was natural, to see if like they were hitting all the points that I was looking for immediately. Then after that, I would give them my number so we could text for a few days, you know, get on the phone, do FaceTime, all of that shit, like just, you know, the checks, because you don't want to be catfished. And after that, the guy would decide whether or not he wanted to take me out on a date. Because one thing about me, and listen up, listen up, I'm never gonna be the girl to ask you on a date. Yes, I did it with Dwayne. You're right, 100%. I did it with Dwayne, but I will not be caught doing that shit again. After Dwayne, like, I literally decided that there were so many things I literally refused to do again. Like, I wasn't gonna do it. Okay, I wasn't gonna do it. So I waited for guys to hit me up and say like, oh, let me take you out on a date, and that's how things went. Now, right off the bat, I want to tell y'all that I didn't go out on dates with a lot of guys that I talked to on Hinge, because not only were they strange, they couldn't hold a conversation, they didn't have jobs, and they were just like walking red flags. One day, I'm gonna tell you guys the mini story time about the time that I'm almost positive this guy was trying to like red light me on Hinge, but that's for another day. Anyway, so here comes our main character, okay? Here comes our main character. One day I'm on Hinge and I am, you know, scrolling through my likes and stuff like that, and I come across a guy, and we are going to call this guy Lemonhead. Yeah.
Unacceptable!
If you've ever watched Adventure Time, you know Lemonhead. The character's name is actually Lemon Grab, not Lemonhead. I don't know why I said Lemonhead, but you know what? We're gonna roll with it. It's like super sour, like very negative, very like abrasive and kind of neurotic. Lemonhead, if you're watching this, it's really no beef, but you know what you like. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know your personality, and you can't tell me I'm lying. So Lemonhead, you know, he's in my likes or whatever, and I remember this conversation because I think he responded to one of my blurbs, and he was like, you must be a serial. Basically what I said was, I was saying like, I think that the milk comes before the cereal, and he was just like, you must be a cereal, like you have to be. And I just thought it was so funny the way he went around the conversation, and so like I was cracking up, and because he made me laugh immediately, like that was already like a green flag to me. So I go on his profile, you know, I check out all the details about him, and everything checks out, you know what I'm saying? Like, he said he was like 6'6" or something like that. You know, he was from the Caribbean, that's what his background was in. He lived in Brooklyn, like, you know, all the things. So Lemonhead and I are talking for like a few hours, I want to say, on the app. Now, even though Lemonhead and I had really good conversation and stuff like that, one of the red flags that I should have paid attention to was the way he got irate at this conversation. So one day, Lemonhead and I are, you know, texting. I think we were texting, either texting or on the phone, I don't remember. So one day we're texting, I think it was like the next day actually. So the next day we're texting whatever, and I'm like, yeah, like what's your zodiac sign? And he goes,
why do you want to know?
I just wanted to know. So he goes,
why do you want to know? Like, why is that important to you?
And I'm like, oh, like it's not that big of a deal. I just want to know because I think astrology is interesting. You know, I don't live my whole life by it, but I think it's very interesting. And I like to meet, you know, people from different astrological background and get to see like if it matches up to people that I've met in the past with those same signs. So he goes, I don't think my sign is important. Okay. All right. So he goes,
I don't think my sign is important. And I really think that girls like you who take astrology that seriously are very unserious people. I think that y'all are childish. Astrology has no background. Astrology is not real. Y'all just want to use people's astrology signs and say that they're bad people. You just want to use my zodiac sign to make your judgments based off me, off that only. You don't know me. My sign has nothing to do with who I am. You don't know me, okay?
So now me, right? I'm staring at the phone bumbleclaply because what is happening here? What is going on? What did I say wrong? And it couldn't be the fact that I asked you if you was a Cancer moon or not. Like that couldn't be it. So I'm like, no, like that's not the case. I just wanted to know like what your sign is because I think it's interesting. But you know, you don't have to answer me. He's like,
I know.
So now I'm sitting here and I'm trying to assure him that I'm not gonna judge you based off your sign. I don't care if you are a carrot moon and a stove sun. Like I don't care. I don't care. It's not that serious. So I'm like, yeah, like it's not that serious. Like I just wanted to know. And he's like,
okay.
Then he decides to tell me his sign. And you know what, Lemonhead, if you watching this, let me just say, it adds up. Yeah, it adds up. I'm not gonna tell y'all what sign he is. Just take your best guess in the comments. Take your best guess in the comments. So after we get through that conversation or whatever, like I'm looking at him a little bit funny, but not funny enough to like stop talking to him, right? Because it's not that big of a deal. Other than that conversation, all the other conversations that we had flowed very, very well. Like he was a very easy person to talk to. He made me laugh from time to time. Like he was serious when he needed to be serious. Like he had goals in his life. Like everything added up when it came to Lemonhead. And so I wasn't willing to put all of that aside because of like a one weird conversation, you know what I mean? So we're you know, talking, we're getting to know each other and stuff like that. And as the days are going by, like I'm really starting to like this guy. Like I'm really starting to like him. Almost every single hour of the day I was talking to him. We both worked from home, so you know, while we were working and stuff like that, like we would text each other when we got the chance to text each other, and we were just always like so attentive when it came to each other. We started to fall into a habit where like every day after he got off work, like the hour after he got off work, he would call me and we would just be on the phone for like hours, like talking about our day, getting to know each other and stuff like that. Keep in mind, this is all happening before I met Lemonhead in person. So like I said, we're on the phone, we're getting to know each other. It's so cute. Like it's so cute. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I really liked him, and I really liked the feeling that I got from him, because after dating Dwayne for 3 years and really starting to know like this is a man who doesn't love you, like this is a man who doesn't give a flying about you, it felt very nice to have somebody, you know, cater to me and like care about me and show me and tell me that they really, really like me. Lemonhead and I are getting to know each other and stuff like that, and one day he's like,
I'm gonna take you out on a date this weekend.
So I'm like, oh cool, like where are you gonna take me? He decides that he's gonna take us to a Thai restaurant because we both liked Thai food. So he said,
I'm gonna take you to a Thai restaurant, like don't worry about it, just get like dressed up in whatever you feel is comfortable and cute. I could come pick you up if you want, or you could meet me there if you're more comfortable with that. Like we could do whatever, I'm gonna pay for it. Like I just want to meet you and get to know the person that, like, you know, I've been on the phone with for the past,
I want to say it was like a week and a half. So I'm like, yeah, you're saying like my man is gonna take me out. I'm excited. I'm excited because he's gonna take me out. I'm super excited about, you know, him taking me out and him, you know, wanting to spend time with me and meet me in person. Like it was just very great. It was great vibes. 2 days before Lemonhead and I are supposed to meet up in person and go out on this date, shit hits the fan. Sidebar. When I first started talking to Lemonhead, I made it very clear that at the time I was also talking to other guys on the app. I asked him actually, I said, are you talking to other people on this app? Like, are you dating anyone actively on the app? He said,
I am talking to one girl, but things are not going that well. We're not really clicking that well.
And I was like, okay, just so you know, I'm talking to 2 other guys right now. And by talking, I literally mean talking to them. I just told y'all, most of the people I was talking to on this app, I never even met them in person. So we were just like on the app, like talking to each other, trying to hold conversation at that point. But I made that very clear to him. I was very open and honest to every guy I talked to on the app. I asked them what they were looking for, and I asked them how many people they were talking to, just so we were on the same page. I'm not gonna sit there and assume that anybody's only talking to me, because I'm not a kid. See what I'm saying? I'm like, yeah, like we're on the same page, right?
Nope.
We were not. 2 days before this date, one of the guys that I was talking to, he texted me and he said, hey, I'm gonna call you later. That day, me and that guy were having like a really long conversation throughout the day. Like we were texting, getting to know each other, like all that shit. The guy that I'm talking about is the guy that I made the story time about with like the red flags everywhere. I'm gonna post it right here. But that's the guy I was talking to. I was literally talking to him like all day through text, and he decided that he was gonna call me. I made him call me because he said he wanted to take me out on a date. And I was like, you can't take me out on a date until you call me on the phone, so I could see if, you know, our conversations match up on the phone as it does in text message. So he said he was gonna call me. I said no problem. Remember, Lemonhead and I were always on the phone after he got off of work, and I knew this. And so me being, you know, the caring person and the considerate person that I am, I texted Lemonhead and I said, hey, I'm gonna call you later. Don't call me at our usual time. I will call you. He says, okay. I'm thinking shit is okay. It was not. So I'm on the phone with this guy, and if you watch that story time, you know that that conversation did not go well. I get off the phone with him and I text Lemonhead and I said, hey, I'm about to call you. Are you good? Lemonhead goes,
Who are you on the phone with?
I was on the phone with a guy. Why? He says,
Oh, I don't want to talk to you. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
I beg your pardon?
so I'm like, okay. And I texted him, I'm like, is everything okay? He was like, I'm fine. I'll talk to you tomorrow. I just don't want to talk to you right now. And I'm like, the is going on? Like, what? Basically, Lemonhead did not talk to me that whole night. Like, I'm a very logical person, okay? Like, my immediate thought is not that this person is mad at me or I did something wrong. So I'm thinking something happened to him between the time I texted him and I said I'll call you later, and between the time I said I'm ready to call you. I'm thinking something happened with his family, his friends, work. Something got under his skin and he don't want to talk to nobody. The next day, usually like Lemonhead, he texts me, good morning, beautiful, like did you sleep well? I hope you have a good day, da da da. He aired my shit. Nothing. I didn't hear anything from this man. So I'm like,
Funny. Yes, but not funny. Haha. Funny weird.
So around 3 o'clock, I text him and I'm like, hey, like I'm gonna call you later at our usual time. So he goes,
Why?
I just want to talk to you about something. He says, okay. At our usual time, I call him and I'm like, hey, how's your day going? He's like,
It's fine. What did you want to talk about?
you ain't have to clear me like that, but okay, sure. So I was like, why did you not accept my phone call yesterday? Like, what were you upset about? He was like,
Oh, you were on the phone with the guy, right?
so I'm like, yeah, and what's the problem? He was like,
I just felt disrespected because you were on the phone with the guy around the same time that we're usually on the phone. So I guess I don't mean nothing to you, huh?
last I checked, this pum pum didn't have a... Last time I checked, I was single. Last time I checked, you're not my man. Last time I checked, you knew I was talking to somebody and I knew you was talking to somebody else. So what the is up? So I'm like, what's the issue? Like, what's the issue? You knew I was talking to other people, right? So what's the problem? He was like,
I just think it's funny because you got on the phone with somebody else around the time that we usually talk to each other, so I guess you really don't care.
I'm like, what? Please clear this up. So he goes off on a tangent about how he really felt disrespected and it really hurt his feelings that I was on the phone with somebody else when I could have been talking to him. And while I understand him being hurt and I have to respect somebody's feelings, at the same time, you knew that I was talking. You see what I'm saying? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like his reaction was unwarranted and it didn't add up. So I was just like, you know what? Okay. Lemonhead then goes on to say,
And another thing, I don't think that I want to take you out on a date this weekend.
so I'm like, and why's that? He's like,
I don't think you deserve to be taken out on a date.
I damn near lost my shit. No, let's be for real. Who are you talking to right now? He was like,
I don't think you deserve to be taken out on a date. You've been acting real funny and I just thought that it was disrespectful what you did today. So I don't know if I want to spend my time and my money with you because you really hurt my feelings.
it's okay for you to not take me out on a date. Like, that's completely fine. But what you're not gonna sit there and do is speak to me as if I'm a child who misbehaved. You're not gonna talk to me like that. We're both grown. You know what it was. I knew what it was. Let's get that in check real quick. So I was like, okay. I don't know if he expected a reaction out of me like I'm so hurt, like, you knew I wanted to go get time, like, you know, you wanna take me out on a date no more. I don't know if that's what he expected, but that's not me, and it's never gonna be me. So I was like, all right, and he was like, okay. And then that was the end of that conversation. That really just was the end of that conversation. Now, because of the way our conversations had flowed and because I liked him so much so quickly, I really didn't want to let what we had go. Like, I didn't want to let it go so quickly, and so I decided to hit Lemonhead up again the next day. And so finally I got him to like say like, you know what, it's fine, like we could see each other. So we agreed to meet up at Prospect Park. So the next day, you know, I get dressed, I put on something very simple, and I make my way to Prospect Park. When I got there, I was getting ready to cross the street and I could like see him across the street. So I crossed the street, you know, we met each other. His looks checked out. They checked out. Like, he was very tall. He looked exactly like how he looked on FaceTime and on his Hinge profile. So then, you know, everything was fine. So we started walking to find a spot to sit in and stuff like that. And as we're walking, we're talking to each other about what happened. We finally came to a resolve. I apologized for, you know, hurting his feelings or whatever the case was. And, you know, he accepted my apology, but I thought he was still a little butthurt about it. And as we were talking, like, more and more, like, the conversation started to transition into something that was a little bit more normal. So we're talking, you know, we're like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm meeting you in person, da 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 da. Like, he's telling me how cute I am. Like, I'm telling him how attracted I am to him, like, vice versa. We're talking to each other. You know, conversation's going well and stuff like that. We're talking to each other, getting to know each other and stuff like that. And all of a sudden he says to me,
if you and I were dating and we stopped dating, would you be upset if I started dating your best friend?
Are you dumb?
why are you asking me this? So I'm like, yes, why are you asking me that though? He goes to tell me like this long story about how he used to be friends with like this group of people, and like he was dating one girl and then they stopped dating, but they were still in a friend group, and he started dating her best friend, but the best friend didn't want to pursue him because of the best friend, and it was just a lot. It was just a lot, okay? But I'm trying to tell him like, you don't do that. You do not do that. I get why she doesn't want to talk to you, because that's weird. So he's like,
I don't understand women. Like, y'all never know what y'all want. If I dated you and we're no longer together and you don't care about me, why does it matter I'm dating your best friend?
Red flag number 3. Listen, clearly I was purposely ignoring these red flags. I was purposely ignoring them because what? Girl. So after the weird conversation that we're having or whatever, like, I go home. We separate, I hug him, I go home. When I went home, things definitely got better. They were no longer awkward, you know what I'm saying? Like, we had a good situation going on. My man, like, that's what it was given. So he decides like, okay, we're gonna go on this date now. And I'm like, cool. The date was really good. Like, we had really good food. We had like barbecue food downtown Brooklyn, like by Atlantic. So we had barbecue food there. It was a really nice day. It was like in the summer, so it was nice and like warm. It wasn't hot, but it was warm. And so like, you know, we took a walk after our little date. So we're taking a walk, we're holding hands, you know what I'm saying? Like, he got his hand around my shoulder, like we're kissing each other every few blocks, you know? Like, it's really cute. It's cute, okay? And at some point I was like, oh, by the way, like, I'm going to Tampa in a few weeks to go visit one of my best friends from middle school. I had planned this trip for like a really long time, and like I did this before I met him, so it was what it was. So I told him like, yeah, I'm gonna be gone. I'm going to Tampa to visit my friend, So he goes to joke and he's like,
I hate that your friends are taking you away from me. Like, I can't believe I finally got you to myself, and now, you know, you're going to be away from me.
By the way, by this time, he and I were dating exclusively. I had paused my Hinge app, deleted it. He did the same, and him and I were just dating exclusively.
so I'm like, yeah, like, it's okay. Like, I'm gonna see you soon. I'm gonna miss you, So that's the end of that conversation, right? At least that's what I thought. In the next week, he kept bringing up the fact that I was going to Tampa. And at first, it seemed like a joke that he was upset about it. But it became very obvious to me that he was not joking. Like, he was not joking about the fact that he was PO'd that I was going to Tampa. He did not like it. He didn't like the fact that I was leaving. I think now is the time to tell you guys a little bit more about Lemonhead. Lemonhead lived with his parents, which is like fine. He was like 2 years older than me. So he lived with his parents. He had an older sister. He had a dog. These are the things you need to know about Lemonhead. Another thing about him is that he was a very, very big complainer. Every day when we got on the phone, Lemonhead would complain about something. Very much so something. Whether it was his job, his boss, you know, the way he hated his body or his parents. It was always something with Lemonhead. It was always something about him, okay? And so I didn't really take that as a red flag because we all have bad days, and the pandemic was a really bad time for everybody. So you complaining to me, like, it doesn't make me think that there's anything wrong with you, because I just think that you are comfortable enough to confide in me about how you're feeling. So I didn't say anything as he's making his complaints and shit like that. It is what it is. With that being said, after our first date, Lemonhead came to see me every single day. If he didn't come to see me one day out of the week, I was in shambles. Because I felt so strongly about him and he felt so strongly about me that it was like, if he didn't come see me after work one day, like, I did not know how to handle it. I was very spoiled about it. Like, I was crying. Like, no, okay, hold on. Drag it.
Relax.
I wasn't crying, but I was like, you know, I was like very sad. Like, I miss my main girl. One day he says, I'm gonna come pick you up and we're gonna go get some Mexican food. That day in particular, I had a very, very, very bad day. I don't know what was going on. I don't remember. I think it was like I was overwhelmed by work and I was overwhelmed by, like, you know, life in general. I was just having a bad day. And I remember telling Lemonhead that I had a bad day. Like, I was texting him and I was like, yeah, like, you know, things are not going right. Like, this is just a really bad day for me. In the text messages, he was ensuring me that things were gonna be okay. Like, he was reassuring me,
Like, babe, it's okay. It's all good. Like, you're gonna be fine. Don't worry about it.
I get in the car. He gives me a hug, he gives me a kiss, and I have a mental breakdown. Like, I start to cry and cry and cry and cry and cry in this man's car. Like, he literally did not even put his seatbelt back on before I started to cry. And it's because of the type of day I was having. Like, I literally felt like I felt comfortable breaking down in front of him. I felt like it was a safe space for me to cry in front of him. You know, usually when someone is crying, you try to comfort them. I'm having a mental breakdown and Lemonhead is looking at me like,
It hurts.
he looked at me so disgusted. So I'm crying. I'm like, oh my God, I'm having such a bad day. Like, nothing's going right. Like, I feel so anxious right now. Like, this is terrible. Like, I just feel so good right now. I'm having this mental breakdown, and I literally stopped crying because I could feel him staring at me. He didn't try to pat my arm. He didn't try to, pat my thigh. He didn't try to hug. Nothing. This man just looked at me like, what the fuck is your problem, actually? So I wiped my little tears, girl, and I'm like, you can drive off now. So I'm in the passenger seat, not saying anything, and he's driving, the radio is playing. We got to the Mexican place, and he parks the car outside, and he goes inside to tell them, like, he's here to pick up his order. Like I said, it was the pandemic, so, like, people weren't letting you sit inside, so you either had to sit outside in the little, like, things that they built, or you had to take your food to go. He decided to take our food to go, so we could just sit in the car and talk. Picking up the food, I'm furiously texting my best friends that I was going to Tampa with, and I'm like, the f is this nigga problem? Like, I'm sitting here crying, I'm having a mental breakdown, he won't talk to me. I was always there for Lemonhead. All the times he was having his little mental breakdowns and he was complaining about shit, just all. Like, he was complaining about nothing all the time, and every single day I was there for him. I was comforting him. I was telling him it's gonna be okay. I was always on his side. I was giving him advice. I was doing what you're supposed to do as a partner. But when I do it, he had a problem.
I'm like, what is me for?
So he gets back in the car and he's like,
Why are you looking like that?
and I was like, so now you want to talk? He goes,
What are you talking about?
I said, I'm having a mental breakdown and I'm crying and I'm in distress and you don't want to comfort me. What is this about? Like, what? So he goes,
Come on, man. I don't want to do this with you right now.
so I'm like, you don't have a choice. So he's like,
I just think it's crazy because I knew you were having a bad day, but I told you I would come pick you up and we would have some food and it's gonna be okay. But you really came into my car crying and shit. Like, you're really ruining the vibe.
I beg your pardon?
I'm ruining the vibe.
What do you mean by that?
So I'm asking him, I was like, what are you talking about? He was like,
Like, if you're going through something, like, you just get over it. Like, I'm here to comfort you. I bought you food. Like, what's the problem? Why are you crying? I don't understand.
in that moment, I lost my shit. When I told you I started yelling at this man so loudly in his car, the people next to my window who were sitting outside started staring at the car because I know they could hear me blacking on. I was so angry because when you complained to me and you were having those bad days, I was there for you. I didn't even tell you that I think you complain like a... I didn't tell you that. I didn't tell you that you complain too much and you need to tighten up. I did not tell you that. I said that it's okay, things will get better. I know you're having a bad time right now, but I'm here for you no matter what. I comforted you, I reassured you, I did whatever it is that I needed to do for you. And when I have a bad day, the one time I have a bad day, you can't handle it. You fold. So I'm going off on him and I'm like, yeah, like, I think that's really messed up. Like, I don't understand what your problem is, but I'm not going for it. And he was just like, you know what, like, whatever. When he gets the food, he went back outside after I blacked on him to go get the food. And he came in the car and he's like,
Well, do you want to go drive somewhere to eat?
and I was like, no, take me home. Take me home. So after the situation, we talked about it like the next day or whatever, and we kind of like came to some type of resolve. I think he apologized. I don't remember. But we talked about it and stuff like that, and that was that. That weekend, Lemonhead decided that he wanted to spend the night with me. Okay, he said he wanted to spend the night with me. You know, he never gets to spend the night with me. We just see each other for a few hours a day and then that's it. But he wants more time with me. I pack my little bag, I go downstairs and we start heading off to our location. When we got close to the location, he asked me what I wanted to eat. He said it makes more sense for us to pick up the food now as opposed to getting to the Airbnb and then going to get food later. And I was like, you know what? It makes sense. I told him I wanted Buffalo Wild Wings. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. I'm like, yeah, like I want Buffalo Wild Wings. So he tells me to place the order on my phone and he's gonna send me the money. So I placed the order, he sends me the money, no problem. We pull up to this Buffalo Wild Wings and we're sitting outside the car because they were only doing carry-out orders. Like, you couldn't go inside at all. So we're sitting outside waiting for the order and stuff like that. It hadn't even been 10 minutes that passed. He was like,
where is the confirmation? Like, they didn't send you a text message yet?
I was like, no, they didn't send me a text message. Like, it says that we still have like 15 more minutes left. I'm still waiting. So he's like, okay. At the time I was on Twitter, I was just scrolling on Twitter, and I didn't think that anything was wrong with him. So I'm on Twitter and I'm laughing and I'm like showing him all the funny tweets and stuff that I'm seeing, and I could sense that he was irritated, but I didn't know what the problem was. So he starts huffing and puffing and shit like that, and I'm like, what is the issue? He goes,
you're just on your phone messing around on Twitter and you're not even checking to see if they, message you and if your food is ready.
I said, like, nobody texted me. Like, I'm still waiting. You know what I'm saying? So he was like,
you know what? Okay, fine.
2 minutes passes by. This man goes,
I'm just gonna go to the window and check to see if the food is ready.
Gets out the car, slams the door, walks to the front. All these people are waiting, and all these people got here before us, and you think that our food is gonna be ready before theirs? Why? He goes to the front and he asks them whatever, and obviously they say the food is not ready yet. So he stands outside and he's waiting for the food, whatever the case is. So I get the text message that the food is ready, and I text him the confirmation. He goes, he gets the food, he comes back inside. At this point, my anxiety is raging anxiety. Y'all know I have anxiety. If you're not new here, you already know the vibes. So my anxiety is really bad at this point, and I'm like starting to panic because I'm like, damn, like, he really overreacted over something so small and something I had no control over. So I'm sitting there breathing hard and shit like that, and at this point, like, I start to cry because I'm in a car with this man. I'm going to an Airbnb to spend the night with him, and I don't know when he's gonna get upset about something else. I don't know if he's gonna get tight at something else that's not in my power. I don't know what's gonna happen. I start to sniffle in a corner, and I'm like looking out the window because I'm trying not to get his attention so he could see that I'm crying. I know his ass know I was crying. I know it. We get close to the Airbnb or whatever, and he's like, what's wrong with you? So I tell him what's wrong. I'm like, yo, like, you really went off on me for no reason over some shit I had no control over. It wasn't that serious. Like what's going on? He's like,
you know what? I'm sorry.
That night, nothing happened. Like, literally nothing happened. We were just watching movies and stuff like that, and just like, enjoying each other's company. That literally was it. We checked out the Airbnb, we got breakfast, and then he took me home. So that's what happened during that trip. The night before I was supposed to go to Tampa, this man says,
I need to talk to you.
I'm like, what's up? He goes on with this long spiel about how he feels like we should take a break from each other because my shit is too much for him.
This nigga is crazy.
I was like, what? Like, what do you mean my shit is too much for you? He was like,
yeah, like, what I'm saying, like, with your anxiety and stuff like that, like, it's just too much. I don't know if I can handle that on top of having my own issues going on. I don't know, it's just too much for me.
I said, okay, what do you want me to say? At the end of the day, any situation I get in with a man, like, I always tell him about the baggage that I bring. So whatever my baggage is, I tell him what my baggage. But I want to say this, and I mean it wholeheartedly. When it came to Lemonhead, he got the best version of me possible. Like, he literally did not see me have multiple breakdowns. No, nothing. Like, I had a breakdown one time in front of this man, and he folded. Any other time I had a reaction about something is because of something he did. He yelled at me for no reason. He went off for no reason. He was just very, like, he's one of those people that if you're around him for too long, you start to feel like the room is closing on you. Like, the air is being sucked out of the room. Like, that's the type of person he is. And so anytime something happened and I would fire on him, like, it's because he said something. I guess he took that as an opportunity to say, like, my shit is too much for him. Like, he can't handle it. He got all this going on, So I said, okay. In true fashion, okay, we get off the phone and we don't speak. I get to Florida, and this man is texting me as if we're friends. He's texting me like,
oh yeah, like, I'm sorry. I still want you around. I still want you in my life. I need to clear my head.
Like, he's telling me all these things. This man starts to send me songs that match his mood. He sent me a Brandy song, and I'm trying to remember what song it was. It was from the Full Moon album, but I don't think it was Full Moon. Let me see. It was I Thought. sending me songs. He's sending me songs to match his mood. He's sending me subliminals through Brandy. I'm like, okay, all right. The next day, like the day after I landed in Florida, like he decides, like, you know what I'm saying, like, I miss you, I care about you so much, you know, I'm ready to have you come back in my life. Now, don't ask me why I allowed this man to do this. Don't ask me why I let him treat me like a dickhead.
I am a clown.
You know, we start to date each other back again when I'm in Florida. When I left Florida, I had to quarantine at an Airbnb for a week and a half because at the time my grandmother, you know, she was living with us and she's very susceptible to, you know, COVID and stuff like that. And so I didn't want to possibly expose her. And so I quarantined at an Airbnb. Thankfully, I didn't get COVID, but, you know, precautions. So I'm at this Airbnb or whatever. And the day that I get there, he's like,
You know what? I missed you so much. I want to come see you tomorrow.
so I'm like, oh, don't do that. I didn't get tested yet. Like, don't do that. He's like,
oh, like, I don't really care. I want to see my baby. I want to come see you.
so I said, okay, no problem. And before he comes to see me, like, I get cute, I take a shower, girl, like, I fix my hair, I put my little Fashion Nova jumpsuit on, you know what I'm saying, like, doing my biggest. I light my candle, like, all of that, you know what I'm saying. He comes, he brings me Panda Express. I eat my food, I'm hugging him, you know, we're being intimate, we're hugging each other, I'm sitting on his lap, like, we're doing all the things, okay, girl, it's just so cute. We get to a conversation about, like, how, you know, he wants to make me his girlfriend, like, pretty soon, and he has plans on how he's gonna do it, and I'm like, oh, like, that's so cute, Fast forward, I want to say 2 hours later, Lemonhead and I start to get intimate. Lemonhead and I are, you know, we're getting excited to take a trip. And Lemonhead's car was not able to start up. His car was not able to start up. Long story short, Lemonhead got really, like, embarrassed about the whole situation, and he kind of just, he got really like emotional about it. Like, he really started to, you know, cry in front of me about what happened, and I'm like telling him, like, you know, it's okay, like, it's fine, you're fine, I'm not judging you, I'm not thinking anything about this, like, it's okay. I'm really doing my best to be reassuring and make him comfortable, and he's not going for none of that. He's really not. And so I'm like, damn, like, what do I do now? So, you know, I'm hugging him, I'm like, can I hug you? And he's like,
no, like, don't touch me.
Okay. So as he's having his moment, once again, I'm trying to reassure him that it's okay, and then I'm not judging him. And he goes, you know what I'm saying, like, this
has happened before to me with, like, another girl. It's not you, I'm very attracted to you, It's just something that happens to me.
And I'm like, oh, like, it's okay, like, you're fine, like, you are fine, I am not judging, like, you are fine. Lemonhead's like, I have to go home. He goes home, and next morning, Lemonhead texts me, and he's basically telling me, like, yeah,
I don't think we should date each other anymore. Like, I clearly have shit I need to work on, you know what I'm saying? I need to go see a therapist again. I have all these things I need to work on. Like, it's not gonna work between me and you.
That's it. That is it. That is how he ended our relationship, our situation, whatever it was. That is how Lemonhead ended it. I didn't do nothing to that man. I really didn't. And all the red flags are there, babes. Like, all the red flags are there. And so I was like, so that was me and Lemonhead. So, you know, after we stopped speaking to each other and stuff like that, I was really hurt by it. I'm not gonna lie. I was really hurt by the situation because I liked him so much, and I had already let so many things slide because I thought that we were eventually gonna pan out. But one thing's for sure, two things for certain: when God has a plan, he's gonna put that plan into action, because I fought my hardest to keep this man in my life. Like, I really fought like hell to keep him, and God was like, not this one. And so, you know, he did make his grand exit out of my life. And a few weeks after, like, everything happened, or was it a month after? I think it was a month. It was like 2 months after. 2 months after the situation with Lemonhead and I texted him and I was like, hey, you know, just checking in on you, like, seeing how you're doing and stuff like that. I genuinely was checking in on this man. I just wanted to see how he was doing, because everything ended so awkwardly between the two of us. Like, I didn't want him to think like I felt anyway, and so I was just checking in on him to see, like, if he was okay. And he was just like, yeah, I'm fine, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was giving me updates. So then he goes to say, like, are you dating someone? I said, no, I'm not dating anyone. know why. He was like,
oh, I was just wondering, why you were hitting me up. I thought maybe,
So I'm like, you know what? Like, what do you mean? He goes,
so you're not dating anyone? You didn't date anyone after me?
I said, I did talk to someone after you, but it didn't work out. And, it is what it is. So he's like,
is that why you're texting me?
Lemonhead, please. Lemonhead, please. Like, I can't even be nice without somebody thinking, you know what, whatever. We were just casually like talking to each other and stuff like that. But that was it with me and Lemonhead. Like, we didn't really go no further. Like, nothing happened. I didn't want to rekindle it. So yeah, that's the end of my story. If you guys like this story time, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe and join the gang. Because you're watching a little video, you might as well stick around. Follow me on all my socials that are Snapchat, Twitter, and Instagram. That is in the outro and also in the description box down below. Call me BB if you wanna reach me. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, y'all.